The car on the road screeched, tires shrieking as brakes slammed, but not fast enough. Wine got to him just in time, arms looping around his small chest, yanking him back as her own foot twisted on the edge of the curb. The car rushed past in a blur, just a few inches too close. Just a few seconds from disaster. With the child clutched in her arms, her chest heaving. Her knees hit the sidewalk hard, but she didn't care. She held onto the boy tightly, his small body trembling in her grip. Jungkook was running. He reached her in seconds, breath sharp, his hand immediately going to her shoulder as he crouched down beside her. "Are you insane?" he snapped, eyes wide. "What were you thinking? I just saw him."
He ran. He didn't even look.
The child's mother came rushing, screaming his name, and pulled him away, crying and thanking her over and over again, but she barely heard it. Her heart was thudding too loud. He didn't say anything for a moment. His jaw clenched, and he looked like he wanted to yell more, but it wasn't the time, nor the place. Instead, he just crouched lower beside her and cupped her elbow. "You could have been hit," he said. "That was reckless."
"I know," she whispered. "I know it was. I just..."
Words got stuck, somewhere between her chest and the knot in her stomach. He stared at her a moment longer, then sighed and stood, offering his hand. She took it, his fingers wrapping around hers firmly as he helped her to her feet with a gentle pull. Her knees burned from where they hit the pavement, and even through the fabric of her jeans, she could feel the sting. But she didn't let go of his hand right away. She turned, eyes shifting toward the child again. He was in his mother's arms now, crying into her shoulder, hiccuping through his sobs. Her heart twisted. His little face was red, hands gripping her shirt tightly. She saw a scrape on his knees, probably from when she yanked him back.
"He is hurt." She steps forward. "His knee..."
The mother looked down, brushing back her hair with a trembling hand. "It's okay, just a small cut." "No, please," she said quickly. "He should be checked. That street's not clean," and he fell on the edge. The wound could get infected." She looked at Jungkook. "Is there a pharmacy or a clinic nearby?"
"Yeah," he nodded. 5 minutes from here. I'll take him."
"It'll only take a second to clean it properly. Cover it just in case," Jungkook said. The woman hesitated, biting her lip. She looked exhausted, eyes puffy, face pale. It's really fine. I'll take care of it." But she could see the slight panic in her eyes. Her arms wrapped around the boy a little too tightly. Maybe she was embarrassed. "It's no trouble. We're both in the field. We just want to make sure it doesn't turn into something more. It'll only take a moment," Jungkook reasoned. She could almost hear the relief in her exhale. "Okay," she said finally. "Thank you. The child clung to her, eyes wide when she tried to give him a small smile. She bent a little to his level, gently resting her hand on his knee. "Hi, you all right?" He sniffled and nodded, wiping at his face with the back of his hand. "Let's take my car. It's faster." And stood by the door while Jungkook washed his hands, tied his hair back loosely, and pulled on gloves. Let's take a look, all right, buddy?" The little boy sniffled and nodded, clinging to his mother's arm but not resisting. "Just a scrape," he said softly, crouching down in front of the boy once. The mother sat on the edge of the bed with her son on her lap. "You did good, holding on to your mom like that." He cleaned the wound gently. She watched his finger move over the one small knee, swiping antiseptic, then carefully applying ointment and covering it with a cartoon-themed bandage. It took less than 5 minutes. "Done," he said with a little smile, glancing up at the mother. "No stitches needed, just keep it clean." The woman bowed deeply, eyes wet again. "Thank you, both of you. I don't know what would have happened if..." "You don't have to thank us," In said softly. "We're just glad he's okay. May both of you be blessed. Always," the women said again. Jungkook gave her a respectful nod. She smiled, stepping closer to the little guy. "You are really brave," she ruffled the boy's hair gently. "Next time, make sure not to chase cats, The boy gave her a small high five, eyes brighter now. They left a dot moment later and the silence that followed felt loud. She turned toward Jungkook and nearly jumped. He was already dot staring at her. What? She asked, heart skipping. He stepped closer, one hand still in his coat pocket. Let me see. See what? Your injury. Don't think I didn't notice. I'm fine, she said quickly. He raised an eyebrow. You were so worried about the boy getting dot infected, but now that it's about you. She bit her lower lip. Let me check. She exhaled slowly, looking away before she sat down on the edge dot of the bed. My knees hit the road, through the jeans. It's not that bad. Still, it's fate. If you are uncomfortable, I can send a nurse. No, that's not why. Okay, fine, just do it. He narrowed his eyes, looking for any sign he was making her dot uncomfortable, but when he found none, he knelt down in front of her. The way he had for the boy, and gently reached for the hem of her dot jeans. Can I? She nodded slowly. His fingers were careful as he rolled up the denim, just above her knee, and when the fabric lifted, she winced at the sting. The scrape was red, some parts already crusted with blood and dust.
He exhaled through his nose. You said this wasn't bad?
It looks worse than it feels, she said weakly. He didn't respond. She chewed on her bottom lip when he reached for the cotton again and dabbed away the excess liquid. She noticed the dot-soft crease between his brows. Like this scrape on her knee suddenly, become a personal mission. Then he reached into the small cabinet drawer near the chair and pulled out a bandage. A cartoon-printed one with tiny stars and dot rocket ships on it. A laugh escaped her lips before she could stop it. Really? I'm not a kid, Dr. Chun. I's head tilted up a little. It sticks better. Sure it does. He pressed the bandage gently over the scrape, smoothing the edges down with the pad of his thumb. Besides,
He added under his breath, you did chase after a kid who Dot was chasing a cat.
her eyes dropped to the top of his head. His dark hair was a little messy, soft. The strands shifting slightly with each breath he took. He was so close, crouched in front of her, serious as always. But there was something different in the air now. I would have done it again, she said, double quotes. I know, he said without looking up. That's what worries me. What? Would I tell your mother? Your brother? He finally looked up. His eyes met hers. If something had happened to you, what do you think I'd say? He went on. They already trust me enough to keep you safe while you're here. If you'd gotten hurt, I wouldn't be able to explain it to them. Or to myself. She swallowed hard. I'm sorry, he nodded, slowly. I know you didn't think. You just reacted. That's part of who you are. But next time, be careful. That quiet silence fell between them again. He held her gaze. She didn't know what to say. Her hands twisted a little in her lap. Okay, I promise. He stood to his full height and cleared his throat. She pulled down her jeans, but a smile formed on her lips when she saw the sticker. Away. Thanks. For the very professional sticker. Don't take it off. It's strong enough to last the day. I wasn't going to. When she looked back up at him, he was removing his gloves, his eyes no longer on hers. We'll get that ice pack. Then we're heading home. She nodded as she stood up, careful not to bend her knee too fast. The warmth stayed where his hand rested. Another week passed like a blur. Started early and ended late. Even though she got home before sunset, she couldn't rest. She'd try sometimes. She'd stare at the ceiling for a while, but then the laptop would be open. A journal article would pull her in. A rare condition. A case. Study. Something she saw during rounds that she didn't understand. Enough. She told herself it's just research. Just 10 minutes. But hours would pass. Other nights, she doesn't make it that far. She'd come home, drop her bag, lie back. And the next thing she knew, sunlight was leaking through the curtains and her alarm was screaming. And today, her nerves were on taking the best of her. She was taking the lead. It was her first real patient on her own. Not fully alone, of course, but she would be doing the assessment, talking to them, writing the notes. Nothing complicated. She kept glancing down at her clipboard, flipping through the patient's chart again and again. As if some magical insight would suddenly appear in the same black ink she read 4 times already. Dr. Min Yoongi was standing silently by the corner, arms folded. She could feel eyes on her. But she didn't want it to make her more nauseous than she was feeling already. "Good morning," she said gently. "My name is I'm an intern working with the team. I'll be checking up on you today. Is that okay?" The middle-aged man inside nodded with a tired smile. "As long as you don't poke me more than necessary, double quotes, I'll try not to. That's only for the nurses to do." He chuckled softly, and she took that as a good sign. The rest came slowly, his history, his symptoms. She asked what she rehearsed in her head a dozen times. Blood pressure, pulse, temperature. Check, check, check. Asked about any discomfort. Recent changes in appetite. Everything was noted neatly on her chart. She was proud. Nervous but proud. She catch Yoongi stare from the corner of her eyes and focused back on her chart. Why does he always look at me like I offended his ancestors? Every time she was near him, it felt like she was being watched under a microscope. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't rude. He was just cold and vaguely terrifying. Sometimes she swear he has a personal vendetta against her I mean. She don't think she ever did anything to make him hate her. She definitely never ran over his cat or did something to piss him off, but still. His eyes had a way of making her brain blank out mid-sentence. She focused back on writing things down, kept her face calm even when she wasn't entirely sure if she palpated the right thing or she just pressed on his spleen. The patient didn't flinch. That had to mean something, right? She cleared her throat and smiled again. "All right. I'll update the doctor and come check on you again later. If you feel anything new or uncomfortable, please press the bell, okay?" He nodded, and she bowed politely before exiting the room. Heart pounding in her ears. "Well," came a soft voice beside her. She turned, finding Yoongi still leaning against the pale wall. He hadn't moved once the entire time. He pushed off the wall and stepped past her and into the patient's room. She bit her lips hard as she stood outside for a second. She stared down at the notes she scribbled during the assessment. Did she miss something? Was he going in to fix what she messed up? Eventually, they came back in his eyes, scanning his tablet. He didn't look up. "You noted the breath sounds correctly?" he said simply, thumb scrolling through the vitals she recorded. "Oh, okay, double quotes." He finally glanced at her just briefly. "Did you feel the right quadrant for the tenderness?" "Yes," she answered quickly. "I double-checked. It was the left lower double quotes . A low, thoughtful sound. "Good that you asked about bowel movements. That helped." She nodded slowly, unsure if he was approving or just stating facts. You missed the part where he mentioned antibiotics last week. Ask about recent meds next time. Especially with GI symptoms." Her stomach dipped a little. "Right. I'll remember that." He tapped the tablet once and started walking like that was the end of the conversation. No good job. No smile. Not that she expected it. But since he confirmed most of what she did, that was kind of approval, right? Not that I needed a gold star, she muttered under her breath as she rounded the corner of the hallway, head still down, eyes on her notes. Just one "well done" wouldn't hurt anyone.
Even a nod, a blink, a half exhale in approval.
She didn't realize how fast she was walking until she collided into a hard chest. Her clipboard tilted sideways and her pen slipped from behind her ear, clattering to the floor. She gasped, stumbling back slightly, only to find a familiar hand catch her elbow. "Whoa, slow down, rookie." She blinked up. Jungkook was there in his white coat, the top buttons of his shirt undone, his ID badge swaying slightly. His brows lifted, mildly amused as he bent down to pick up her pen. "You okay?" he asked, handing it to her. Yeah, sorry," she said quickly, brushing her hair behind her ear. I wasn't looking, I was just walking. Careful next time. You could seriously hurt yourself like that. I'll try to, he raised his eyebrow, not hurt myself. She completed her sentence. His gaze flicked to her face for a second longer, and then he nodded toward her notes. Rough first assessment? She exhaled. It went fine, I think. I mean, 𝗗cie𝗰𝘁cie didn't tell me I failed, so that's a win. He don't compliment. She snorted softly. So I've heard. A brief silence passed between them. Jungkook slipped his hands into the pockets of his coat as he leaned one shoulder casually against the wall. You don't have to impress anyone. Just observe and learn. That'll be the best thing you can do here. Don't rush trying to be perfect. No one here is. She blinked at his words. There was no sugarcoating. No false encouragement. She nodded quietly. Okay. Double quote. A soft hum came from him, shifting slightly to glance down the hallway. Where were you headed? She opened her mouth, then blinked. I actually don't remember. Wandering around the hallway aimlessly? No, I was definitely going somewhere, just forgot where. He pushed off the wall with a small nod. Come with me then. Double quotes. She raised a brow. Where? He started walking slowly down the corridor, hands still tucked in the pockets of his coat. I'm going to grab a coffee. Her feet moved before her brain gave permission, falling into step beside him. You want company, or you look like you need it more than I do, he said simply. Maybe once you have caffeine in your system, you'll remember where you were going. Definitely. With him, everything came wrapped in calm logic. But it didn't stop her from feeling a little flutter beneath her ribs as she fell into step beside him. In yawned, pushing the heavy book closed. 2:03 a.m., living here twisted her sleep schedule into knots. Her body was exhausted, but brain wouldn't shut off. She cracked her neck to the side, stretching out the stiffness that built up from sitting too long. Then the other way. Ow. She winced instantly as sharp pain zapped down the side of her neck. Her hand flew to the stiff muscle, massaging it gently. Her eyes watered instantly. What was this? A pinched nerve. A cramp? Karma? Perfect. Just perfect. She couldn't move her neck now. Great. Just what she needed at 2 a.m. Groaning softly, she dragged herself out of her room, shuffling like some broken wind-up doll. She needed water. And possibly a new neck. She shuffled toward the kitchen, cringing with every step. All she wanted was a glass of water. That was it. By the time she made it to the kitchen, she was mentally writing my will. She finally reached the fridge, grabbed a bottle, and twisted the cap off with one hand. The cool water hit her throat, and she almost moaned with relief. Then she turned around and screamed not screamed exactly. More like yelped, loudly, her neck jerked, again with the motion, and she cried out, Ow! Why? There in the corner was Jungkook. Sitting silently on a stool, his face only can be seen with the dim lit of phone screen, and then it dimmed as he clicked it off. Why are you sitting there like that? She hissed, narrowing her eyes, or she would have if she could move her head properly. Couldn't sleep, he said quietly. You? She clutched the bottle to her chest. I was about to sleep. Just came to grab water. He tilted his head slightly, eyes lowering again meaningfully. What happened? Of course, nothing can escape his eyes. Her hand was still clutching her neck like a wounded bird. Oh, this, she said, trying to laugh. Nothing serious. Just a stretch. It's fine. Just, a small twist or strain, or maybe I broke it, to say. He stared at her for a beat longer, eyes slowly trailing down from her face to the awkward angle of her shoulders. His lips parted slightly like he was about to speak, but he didn't. Don't laugh, she warned, even though he hadn't smiled once. I'm not, he said. Does it hurt to breathe? No, just moving. Sit. Let me see it. You? You seeing anyone other than me? She frowned. I'm fine. Really, I'll just put some balm and sleep. That won't fix it. he said plainly. You've strained the muscle. The wrong balm can make it worse if it's not applied right. If you sleep like this, it'll be worse by morning. You won't be able to move at all. She chewed the inside of her cheek, staring at him, then sighed, defeated, and walked over like a broken scarecrow. She lowered herself onto the stool and told herself this wasn't embarrassing. That a senior doctor helping an intern with a minor injury was totally normal, even if her entire soul was buzzing under his calm gaze. Even if his voice in the quiet of night sounded too soft to ignore. Even if she couldn't meet his eyes without feeling something. Because this wasn't anything, right? Right. He quietly stepped forward, so close she could see the shadow of stubble along his jaw. The small scar on the side of his chin. I'm going to touch your neck. She tilted her head a little, tried. Why does that sound like a threat? He let out a soft exhale. Sorry, she cleared her throat quickly. Please continue. His fingers were warm. That was the first thing she noticed when he gently nudged her hand away from her neck. Tell me where it hurts. Left side. The muscle. I think it's stiff. The pads of his fingers slid lightly against her skin, starting near her shoulder. Just a test. Just to feel the tightness. But even that made 𝗗cie𝗰𝗁ခြcie rise all over her arms. She tried not to react much to his touch. Because goddamn. There, she gasped when he hit a knot. His hand paused. Got it. She bit her lip, blinking hard, trying to keep her eyes from watering. It's like the muscles locked. It is, he said gently, brushing a few strands of hair from her collar. Your posture was bad. You're tensing too much. Just relax. Yeah, sure, her mind screamed. His hand shifted again, pressing a little deeper now. His thumb tracing small circles into the knot that had formed near her neck. Now? He asked after a moment. A bit better. She breathed out. His fingers were precise, knowing exactly how much pressure to apply without causing more pain. And she was thinking way too much about it. Her skin prickled again when he touched just below her ear. And she had to fight the urge to flinch, not from discomfort though. You keep hurting yourself, Jungkook said finally. It doesn't sound like scolding, more like a fact. She gave a soft, miserable laugh, not on purpose. Quotes. How do you even survive if this is the rate of you getting hurt? I don't tell the pain to come to me, it just happens. In a month, he said, finally stepping back, leaving the space cold. You've almost hurt yourself more than some people do in a year. Thanks. She rubbed her hand over the other side of her neck, which was now jealous of the attention. I don't know. Nothing in my life's been going straight since I came here.
He leaned his hip against the counter again, arms loosely folded. I never did live alone before.
She doesn't know why she said that. Or she just wanted to share. I've never done it before. I was always at home, always had someone around. You'll get used to it. It's been a month. And I miss my family. Even the noise. He didn't interrupt. He let her talk. I miss my mom making sure I eat. My brother stealing my snacks and blaming on my dog. The sound of the TV from the living room. Everything was so full, and now everything's just quiet. I mean, I try to stay busy, so I don't think about it much. But I do miss them. There was a short pause before he spoke. It's like that for a few months. The silence feels too loud. But eventually life gets the best of you. Schedules, responsibilities, even friendships. You start to fill the quiet with other things. And little by little, you stop noticing the silence. She swallowed. Did you get used to it? Not at first. Living alone is always weird the first time. Especially when you come from a loving home. The quiet isn't peaceful, it's empty. You don't know what to do with yourself. How long have you been living alone? She asked without thinking, the question just spilling out. Then she pressed her lips together, realizing how personal that sounded. Sorry. But he didn't look offended. He just answered like it was nothing. I was 19 when I moved out, he said. Got a scholarship, lived in the dorms for med school. Then a rented apartment during my internship. I've been here in this place for, what, almost 10 years now? Her brain scrambling to understand that number. You've been living away from your family for 10 years. He gave a tiny nod, like it was normal. Yeah, give or take a few months, but it was always not this apartment. I moved around a lot before settling here. Different neighborhoods, different roommates for a while. Then I got offered this job and found this apartment near hospital and decided to just stay. I'm falling apart after 1 month. He shook his head. You're adjusting. That's not the same thing. Still feels like I'm failing at being a grown-up. You're not, he said. You're just learning what no one prepares you for. She looked down at the floor. It must feel lonely here. It does, he said honestly. It really does. There was no sugarcoating in his voice. But sometimes my parents come visit. Stay for a few weeks, usually during their vacations. My mom still tries to reorganize my kitchen every time. My dad argues with her about spices. She smiled, imagining that. They must miss you, double quotes, I nodded. They do, and I miss them. But it's a little easier now. I try to visit them too, whenever I get a break. And lately, I've been trying to convince them to move here. Really? Yeah, since Soo and Nuna got married, so it's just them now, I think. They'd be happier here. But I think they love their home a little too much. She smiled a little at that. That's the same with my parents too. They'd never leave their house, no matter what. Jungkook looked at her, waiting for her to continue. So she did. My mom always says that house is their first child. When she and dad got married, they didn't have much. But they built every part of that house together. Every paint color, every piece of furniture. My dad even planted the trees in our backyard himself. The lemon tree he still babies like it's a person. Yeah, that one was from their first anniversary. She caught the faint curve of his lips. It made her feel a little warmer. I remember she tucked her knees under her on the kitchen stool. When I was 7, we had this storm. Like everything was flooded, the power was out for hours, and I was so scared. But my parents lit candles and made up this pretend camping game. They even roasted marshmallows on the gas stove and told ghost stories, like we were in the woods. And just like that, the conversation drifted into quieter things. They sat there, feet occasionally brushing under the table. The water bottle sweating between her palms. His phone forgotten beside him. They shared little memories about home, about childhood, about the tiny things that didn't seem important until you left them behind. He told her how Soo and Nuna used to be obsessed with baking, how she once ruined their oven trying to make croissants from scratch. She told him how her brother once died. Her goldfish blew with food coloring because he thought it'd look cooler. They both laughed, and as the night goes on, it didn't feel strange anymore. Okay, metoprolol, 25 milligrams, twice daily. Right. YN was at the end of the corridor, flipping through a patient's chart, muttering to herself under her breath as she tried to make sense of the tangled medication schedule. And this is 𝗗cie𝗰𝘁cie? She's squinting at the scribbled handwriting. How do you people even write like this? I need a translator, not a medical degree double quotes. Hey, in. She looked up to see Rhea, one of the senior nurses, hurrying toward her with a slight panic in her eyes. Do you know where Dr. Chun is? In blinked. No. I haven't seen him since morning rounds. God, where is he hiding now? Rhea groaned, glancing both ways down the hallway like he was going to leap out from a supply closet. What happened? In asked, still holding the chart against her chest. She exhaled loudly, looking both irritated and panicked. There's a call from neurology. They want to coordinate something urgent with him. I've checked his office and, our schedules, but he's not listed anywhere. I swear this man just disappears when you need him. Oh, can you help me find him? Please? I have this assignment Dr. Lee gave me, and she wants the report by lunch. Please, in. Rhea clasped her hands like she was about to drop to her knees. Just peek around for a second. You're good at spotting people, please. If I don't relay this to neurology soon, I'll be the one getting yelled at. God, calm down, I'll go check. And if I get yelled at for being late, I'm blaming you. You're an angel, she called, already walking away. Bless you. Yeah, she muttered. What am I, a courier pigeon? This wasn't how she imagined her intern hours going. But then again, nothing in this hospital ever went as planned. She walked through the halls, checking each room through the small, rectangular windows like some awkward detective.
He wasn't in the ICU, not in the surgical prep room either.
Not with the residents. Not in the godforsaken break room where everyone pretended not to be napping ... double quotes. Where are you hiding, Dr. Chun? She stretched her neck to peek into another room. And then she paused when she heard the laughter. Was she tripping, or did that sound exactly like Jungkook? Not that she'd ever heard him laugh like that before ... He only passed small polite smiles, which she think was a progress. How had she ever heard him laugh at all and like that? Just to make sure she wasn't being insane, she padded quietly toward the sound and peeked through the tiny glass window of room 421. And there he was, sleeves rolled up, stethoscope loosely around his neck, standing near the bed, one hand resting on the bedrail, the other mid-gesture as he laughed so freely his eyes crinkled into crescents. His whole face lit up, not in that fake, polite smile kind of way, but in that sun just broke through the clouds kind of way. She stood there in awe, just staring at him, because for a second she forget how to breathe.